3, 2, 1. Welcome to this week's Patriots video mailbag. I'm Doug Kyde. If you have a question for me, tweet it to me at Doug Kyde using the hashtag MailDoug. First question here, Steve. Steve asks, if you were Pat's GM, would you pay big for a veteran QB or take a chance at one in the draft, assuming one of the top 4 QB picks are available? I would go the draft route just based on the salary cap. I know the Patriots do have a lot of salary cap space this offseason, but they could save a significant amount of that cap space if they find the right quarterback in the draft. The best way to find a quarterback is in the draft, because then they're signed to that 4 or 5 year rookie contract. You're getting them at a cheap salary for a long time, and if they're good, then you can build the rest of the team around them using that freed up cap space. If you go out and sign a really good veteran quarterback, that can cost you, $30-40 million per year. I'm not advocating for the Patriots not to sign, say, Dak Prescott if he becomes available. I think that the floor and the ceiling on someone like Dak Prescott is high enough that you should at least, explore that option. But I think that if you're dealing in the second tier type veteran quarterbacks, then you are better off going the draft route. So that's personally what I would do if one of those top quarterbacks is still available. Second question here, Sagar asks, is there hope for next season? Yes, there's absolutely hope for next season. The Patriots went 7-9 this year, and they really weren't able to spend as much cap space as they would have liked to. A lot of guys opted out. They were left over with about $20 million in cap space that by the time they had it, they could really no longer do anything with it. So now they can carry over that $20 million in cap space, and heading into this offseason, they've got around $60 million in cap space, so they can throw that money around. They can get the wide receiver that they really need. They can get the tight end that they really need. They can go out and get that quarterback. They've also got the 15th overall pick in the draft, and who knows what they wind up doing with that, whether they trade up, trade down, stay put, but they can definitely get a better player at 15 than they usually can at the end of the draft. So I think that there's definitely a chance that the Patriots could turn this around even heading into the 2021 season. If they get that good quarterback, if they add those offensive weapons, if they can get back some of those guys who opted out, then I think that this team has a chance to compete for the AFC East, get into the playoffs. Who knows what happens after that in 2021. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but they've got the cap space, they've got the resources to really improve their team this offseason. Final question here, Mason asks, Mac Jones to the Patriots, is it realistic or a reach in the first round? I think it's fairly realistic. It seems like Mac Jones is widely regarded as a first-round type quarterback. He was extremely efficient at Alabama. I know that he really only started that one season. He did start the second half of the 2019 season after Tua went down, but he was a good quarterback at Alabama. He won a national championship. He did everything that they asked him to do. I know that he had some fantastic weapons around him, but so did Joe Burrow in 2019. He went first overall, and Mac Jones had some pretty similar stats to what Joe Burrow did as a senior at LSU. So I think it's on the table, and I think that, there's 5 potential quarterbacks there in the first round. Obviously, they're not going to get a chance to get Trevor Lawrence at number 1, but with Justin Fields in there, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, I think there's a pretty solid chance that there's going to be a quarterback there at number 15. And like I said to Steve earlier, I would take that quarterback at number 15 overall, because that's the best way to build your team around that rookie quarterback.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.